जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोधनन्दन बृजनरञ्जन यशोधनन्दन बृजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा सुभद्रमाई जय सुदर्शना जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Who wants to recite the prayers today?
I will recite, Mataji.
I can.
Lata Mataji, Sita Mataji, who has not recited between the two of you before?
I have never done before this.
Okay,
yesterday I did for Bhagavatam, but Gita I have not done.
Okay, try again then.
Okay, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-salakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sagrajatam Saha Jana Raghunathavitam
Sahagana Raghunathanvitam
Sahagana Raghunathavitam Tam Sa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Jnana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha.
Let me try that
Am
prayer.
I wrong? Yeah, yes, Mataji, I went wrong.
Yes. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. I request everyone to go on mute for the time being except for Sita Mataji. Continue, Mataji.
Okay. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namostute.
Gopesha
Gopesha Gopika Kanta Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Ka Namostute.
Kanta
Tapta Kanchana Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavane Maheshwari.
Yes.
Vrishabhanu Stute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Request everyone to be on video for this class. Hare Krishna. Thanks for joining. We are continuing with chapter 1. We completed till verse 11 last class. Let me share my screen. All of you are able to see my screen now?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
So till verse 11, what's happened is Pandavas and Kauravas have assembled in Kurukshetra, and verse 11 describes Kurukshetra as Dharmakshetra, which puts Dhritarashtra in a little of anxiety because he's thinking what would be the influence of this Dharmakshetra on the war? Will the people on the favor of Dharma win the war? So he had some little anxiety. From there, Sanjay has started explaining the war sequence, and it starts with how Duryodhana first goes through Dronacharya, and he's telling very sarcastically through Dronacharya, look at your dear intelligent student, the son of Drupada. And there's a background to that, which we described in the last class on why he's especially pointing to the son of Drupada. Who's who? What's the name of the son of Drupada? Drishtadumya. Okay, and from there, he's describing the warriors on the side of Pandavas. He's talking about Bhima, Arjuna, Yudhana, Virata, Drupada, and he's talking about other many warriors that's listed in verse 5 and 6. These are all warriors on the side of Pandavas, and he's calling them as Maharataha. That's almost on the highest level of warriors in the war field. And further from there, he's explaining, then there are people on our side, Kauravas, and who is listing here? Bhishma, Karna, Krupa, Ashwatthama. We briefly went over each of these warriors in last class, who each one of them are. And does anyone know who is Somadatta here? Don't think we...
It's the king of one, I forgot the name of the... He's the king.
Okay. Yes, he must be a king because... Okay, but what is his connection? Any idea? Anyone else?
He's the grandfather of Duryodhana.
In a sense, yes.
Duryodhana.
Not just Duryodhana, because...
yeah, all the Pandavas.
Yes, all the Pandavas. Because he... Shantanu, who is Bhishma Deva's father, right? Shantanu had a brother. So his son is Somadatta. So he becomes Bhishma Pitamaha's cousin brother, in other sense. So since Bhishma Pitamaha is grandfather, so Somadatta also becomes almost on the status of a grandfather to the Pandavas and the Kauravas. But in this war, he is supporting the Kauravas, Somadatta. Okay, and then further, he's describing till verse 11, he is describing how his strength is unlimited, immeasurable under the protection of Bhishma Pitamaha, while the strength of the Pandavas is limited under the protection of Bhima. Okay,
so Krishna, Mataji. Sorry
Hare Krishna. Yes, Jayalakshmi.
In the text 8, it says the son of Somadatta. Somadatti, but the son of Somadatta.
So Bhurishrava is there, but even Somadatta was supporting the Kauravas.
Okay.
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 Yes, they're all on the side of Kauravas because I think the Bhishma Pitamaha connection, since Bhishma is supporting Kauravas, then the same line of justification goes for Somadatta as well on why he's supporting the Kauravas. Okay, so far we can see that Duryodhana is a little, uncertain after looking at the strength of the Pandava army. So he's at this point trying to, pep up his army by giving a war speech before the war, right? Usually before a match, the coach of the team will come and give a pep talk to motivate them to fight to win the match. Similarly, Duryodhana, he's being a very diplomatic, smart leader. He's going to every prominent member of on his side, like Dronacharya, Bhishma, and he's telling them, look, Bhishma Pitamaha he alone can give us victory, but he's also pretty old right now. So you should, from all sides, try to protect him. And this way he'll do just by, making sure he's protected from all sides, just by that, we will get our victory. Okay, so that's where we stopped last week. Sorry, on Monday. Now let's go to verse 12. I've already put up a sequence on who is reading which verse, but if that person is not available today, I'll put on that option to somebody else who's not listed in that WhatsApp group. Okay, verse 12 was Anjali Kuga Mataji, but she says she's not able to read today. So I will request from top, Hamsavalli Mataji, can you read verse 12?
Okay, Mataji. Tasya sanjanai inna hasham puruvruddam pitamahaha simhanadam vinadotshaiha shankasha datmau pratapavan.
Right. Translation.
Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy.
Joy. I'll request the next reader, Archana Mataji, if you can read verse 13 as well. Archana Mataji is not on the call, so Harsh Bardhan. Okay, this will take a lot of time if people are not going to unmute and talk. So Preeti Mataji, if you could please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Text 13. Tata Shankascha Varyascha Panavanaka Gomukha Tahe Savabhaya Hanyanta Sa Shabdastumodo Bhavat. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada teacher. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was
tumultuous. Thank you. So verse 12 is talking about how Bhishma Pitamaha can read through the insecurities of his grandson Duryodhana. When he's praising his army and he's praising the other side, and he's looking at the other side warriors, he can understand the little fear that's crept in his heart. So to give some assurance to his grandson, it said that Bhishma Pitamaha then blew his conch shell. Conch shell means what? Shank. So he blew his conch shell, which is an indication to say that now we are ready to fight. The war has not begun yet, but it's a war call of sorts to say that now we are ready whenever our side of the war field is ready to start the fight anytime the opposite side is. So in some ways, it's also mentioned in the purport over here that Bhishma Pitamaha knew that because Krishna was on the side of Pandavas, the victory of the other side was assured. But still, to console the grandson, Duryodhana, he very compassionately blew his conch shell to say that he's now ready to war the other side. Okay, and from there, once Bhishma Pitamaha blew his conch shell, it said that the whole of Kaurava's side, they started, each of the warriors, they started blowing their own conch shells. Each king will have their own conch shell, right? There are many, many kings who have assembled in the war. So each king on the side of Kauravas, they started blowing their conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets. So it said that a very tumultuous sound was resounded in the war field because of this. Okay, so this means to say that now the Kauravas are ready to fight the Pandavas, and whenever the Pandavas give their own sign that they're ready to start the war can start. So Kauravas have given their green signal to start the war. Now let's go to verse 14. Verse 14 was Devi Nair Mataji. Okay, I'm going to skip Anita Mataji. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. BG 1.14.
Mm-hmm.
ततः श्वेतर्ययुक्तो महति स्यन्दन्ते स्थितो माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यो शङ्खाख्य प्रदध्युम्युत्य.
Okay.
Translation. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental counsels.
Okay. So now on the other side, which is on the side of Pandavas, Krishna and Arjuna each individually started blowing their own conch shells. And this Krishna and Arjuna, they have said that they were seated in a great chariot drawn by white horses. There's a very important significance of this chariot as well. So let's look at the purport very quickly. So there already we discussed how Kurukshetra is Dharma Kshetra, which means to say it is going to favor the Dharmis, not the Adharmis. So this is already a very big indication that the Pandavas are going to win this battle. Right? There are many, many indications even before the war has started that the Pandavas, who's going to win. And because the war is fought in Kurukshetra, that itself is indication that because Pandavas are on the side of Dharma, they are going to win this battle. But other than that, there were many, many other indications also. Okay, what are those indications? One, it said that victory is always there with people like the sons of Pandu because Krishna is associated with them. So there's victory where there's Krishna. And why is that so? Because wherever there's Krishna, the goddess of fortune is also going to be there. So fortune will favor the Pandavas. So that's another indication that they are going to win this battle, right? And also further, the conch shells that were blown by Arjuna and Krishna, they were very transcendental conch shells. Okay, we'll get to know the names of these conch shells in the next verse, but these conch shells are very transcendental. It's not of material earth, right? And because they were blowing this conch shell, those conch shells were also indications of their victory. Then furthermore, this chariot that Arjuna is riding on, there was a pastime where it so happened that Agni Devata once, what do we do when we do yagnas? We put a lot of ghee, a lot of food items into the fire. So there was a lot of yagnas going on, and that gave the fire god, Agni Devata, some little indigestion. Okay, and he had to consume a forest, the Kandavavana, which had many, many kind of herbs. So the only way to heal his indigestion was to consume that forest. Now, in this forest, the Takshaka, a Naga, king of the Nagas, he used to reside in this forest, and he was under the protection of Indradeva. So whenever Agni would go to try to consume this forest, Indra would pour some rain and the whole fire would be extinguished. So this way, many, many times Agni Deva had tried to consume this forest, but Indra Deva would pour some rain and his effort was spoiled. And finally, Agni, he went to Arjuna and Krishna and asked for their support because he had to consume this forest and the herbs, that medicines that come within, if he had to be healed. And it said that Arjuna and Krishna very expertly, they helped Agni Devata burn this forest. And this time even Indra could not do much because Krishna himself was involved. So he successfully burned this whole forest. And because he was so pleased by Arjuna, Agni Deva then gave him his Gandiva and the quiver in which along with he gave him 2 quivers which had unlimited number of arrows. The arrows never get extinguished, right? So as many arrows he's using, the arrows keep filling up in his quiver. So that was also given by Agni, and along with that he also gave him a chariot. This chariot is what Arjuna is riding in the battlefield now. So it said that this chariot is so powerful that whichever side he goes, victory was confirmed to him. So this is the third indication then that the Pandavas are going to win this battle. Okay, so we are going to list many indications even before the war began on what are the indications that show that Pandavas are going to win this battle. And so far we have listed that Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, and because of the presence of Krishna and because of that the goddess of fortune is there, and then there is the conch shells, the transcendental conch shells, and then the fourth reason so far is the chariot given by Agni Devata. Okay, so verse 15.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Verse number 15. Panchajanyam Hrishikesho Devadattam Dhananjayaha Poundram Dadmau Mahashankam Bhimakarma Vrukodaraha. Translation. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his conch shell, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra.
Poundra, correct. So one by one, Krishna. So this verse is interesting because along with the name of the conch shell, a certain name is referred to the one who blew the conch shell, like Panchajanyam Hrishikesho. Who's Hrishikesho here? Who is it referred to?
Krishna.
Lord Krishna.
Krishna.
Lord
Yes.
Krishna.
So Panchajanya, Rishikesha means one who has full control on his senses, or he controls other senses also. So Rishikesha. Okay, so that's a little the Lord who directs the senses of the devotees. So Krishna is called Rishikesha over here, and he blew his Panchajanya. His conch shell name is Panchajanya. Then there is Devadattam Dhananjayaha. Who is Dhananjaya here?
Arjuna.
Arjuna. Right? It said that Arjuna, once when Yudhishthira had to do a Rajasuya Yagna, they needed to spend a lot of money to perform this yagna, right? And and Hastinapura was just new brand set up, and they did not want to use all the wealth they had in the kingdom just to perform this yagna. So there was a certain place in the past yugas. There are many, like in Satya Yuga or Treta Yuga, we are not very sure when, but kings used to give a lot of gold plates, jewelry to brahmanas who performed yagnas, right? Or sages or rishi, whoever visit, pious people who visit the yagnas, they would be given a lot of donation in the form of gold. But these sages had no use of these gold items, right? Golden plates, golden, the pots and whatnot. So what they would do as they were climbing Himalayas, somewhere on the bottom of some areas of Himalaya, they would just throw these golden items because they had to just sit and meditate in one place. So they'll go to some areas of Himalaya, and one special spot, they would throw all these golden items and forget about it. So they didn't want these golden items, though they received it because it was given as a donation. They had no use of that golden items. So you can imagine back in those days, in those kalpas, how how rich the society was, because they had no use of gold. Right? Today, even if you find a small sparkle of gold somewhere, people might just kill each other for that. But back then, people used to just throw gold items because they had no use of it. Right? So like this, after many years or kalpa, so it was told that because Rajasuya Yagna had to be performed by Yudhishthira, and Krishna told Arjuna that there's this place over here where you'll find a mountain of gold covered by, maybe other rocks and caves and whatnot. You'll have to unearth it and you can use that gold for the Yagna. So Arjuna went to that place and he found all these golden items. And then because of that, he was able to fund the Rajasuya Yagna. So here, Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjaya, okay? And he blew his conch shell called as Devadattam. So that is Arjuna's conch shell. Then here further, Poundram Dadmau Mahashankam, Bhima Karma Vrakodhara. So Bhima then blew his own conch shell, which is Poundram, okay? And here Bhima is explained as the one who is Bhima Karma Vrakodhara. Bhima Karma means one who does Herculean task, huge task, right? And Vrakodhara, the voracious eater. Okay, so this is how Bhima is explained. Now, each of these personalities, we should understand that now we know Bhima has a lot of strength. He is, he is described everywhere. Even as a child, by mistake, his mother dropped him from a cliff. And it said that as soon as he fell down, nothing happened to him, but the cliff shattered into pieces. That was the strength of Bhima. But even after that, his strength only increased. The episode of when he was poisoned and dropped into a lake, into the depth of some lake where down below there was Naga Devatas residing. And because of that, he was given some kind of nectar, which only increased his strength even further. And later on, when he met Hanuman, even Hanuman blessed him with more strength. So whatever Bhima was doing, whatever strength he had initially, his strength was only increasing. He was equivalent to many elephants, like thousands of elephants in one go, his strength. So his hunger then was equally potent. We have something called Jataragni, right? The fire that digests our food. This Jataragni is so intense and severe for Bhima that he has to eat. He can't bear his hunger. In fact, because of Bhima, it's in Ekadashi Vrata Mahatmya, it said that Bhima was given the leeway to not fast on Ekadashi, right? But there's one special Ekadashi called as Bhima Ekadashi or Jaya Ekadashi. So this one day, Krishna told him, all other Ekadashis, you don't have to fast, but this one Ekadashi fast, and that will be equivalent to fasting for all the other Ekadashis, right? So you can understand Bhima, his hunger was so much that he had to, and his hunger is not just, eat and sleep. It's not that kind of hunger. So once he's had that share of food, voracious eater, he would also do very Herculean tasks. The time when the Pandavas had gone to Vanavasa, it said that they had to kill a certain Rakshasa called Hidimba. And during the whole Vanavasa, it said Mahabharata explains how the Pandavas used to split their food. Half the food of whatever was collected by Bhiksha, by the Pandavas, would go to Bhima. The other half would be shared by the mother and the other four brothers. So he was that kind of voracious eater. But he also killed Hidimba and then married his sister Hidimbi. And from them comes Gatotkacha. So all that activities are also happening. But what we should remember is the beauty of these names, Rishikesha, Dhananjaya, Vrakodhara, right? The Sanskrit is such a language, just it can very nicely describe a person instead of saying, referring to a a person directly, just by describing it, it can tell you who that person is. But that's how a nice orator can speak as well, right? Just by nicely articulating it, this verse tells us that Rishikesha, he blew his Panchajanya, Dhananjaya blew his Devadatta, and Bhima blew his Poundram, his own conch shell. So so this is a sequence of how the conch shells are getting blown. So there are 3 verses in the next 16, 17, and 18. Just a second. Geeta Mataji, could you read 16 and 17?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha Nakula Sahadevascha Sugosa Manipushpakau Kashyascha Parameshwasa Shikandi cha Maharataha Drishtadyumno Viratascha Satyakischa Parajitaha.
Thank you. Indira Mataji, if you're there, read the rest. Indira Mataji is now. They continue, Mataji, Geeta Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvasa Prithvipate Saubhadrascha Mahabahu Shankanta Dadmu Prataka. Translation. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadeva blew the Sugosha and Manipushpaka. That great archer of the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, and the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and the others, O kings such as the son of Subhadra, greatly armed, all blew their respective conch shells. Hare Krishna.
Right. So here a list of conch shells. So Ananta Vijaya is the conch shell of Yudhishthira. Nakula and Sahadeva, they had their own conch shell. Nakula's was Sugosha and Sahadeva was Manipushpaka. Okay. And then further on, there's a list of Kashi Raja, Kashyascha, Shikandicha, and Drishtadyumna, Viratascha, and Satyaki cha Prajitaha. So all these people, one by one, they blew their conch shells. And then further, there's mention of Drupado Draupadeyas, Sarvashaha Prithvipate, Saubhadrascha, Mahabahu, Shankadadma, Pratak. So one by one, they are blowing their conch shell. Now, chapter 1 is in this format because there's a lot of characters mentioned in a sequence over here. So we are going to try to understand each of these personalities. Okay, so there's a lot of background storytelling, especially in chapter 1. I'm sure chapter 2 will get into more serious context of the Bhagavad Gita, but here we are laying the field for you on understanding who on each side and what is the significance of each person now. So here Yudhishthira is mentioned, who is blowing his Ananta Vijaya. Okay, so we should understand, like if you have seen many of these TV serials of Pandavas, I think earlier on when Mahabharata was getting telecasted every Sunday, there was a certain character laid out for each of these personality. Like Yudhishthira would be relayed as a very honest, of course, he's a very honest, dharmic person, but also Yudhishthira would quite often be shown like, not very powerful person. He's truthful and dharmic, but maybe not as powerful. But it's other way around. It said that when Yudhishthira entered the field of Kurukshetra riding his chariot, he looked like a lion entering the battlefield. So even he is very powerful, same as Arjuna and Bhima. Of course, Arjuna and Bhima's power are on a different level altogether. But even Yudhishthira, we should understand that he's a very powerful king. And his potency as a dharmic king, on why he's the right person to rule, be the next Kaurava king, is shown in many pastimes through the whole Mahabharata. Can someone think of how he showed why he's the, can you think of any pastimes of Yudhishthira in specific on where he showed his capability of being a good king? Can you think of anything?
He never tell the lie.
Yes, he never lied. But is there any pastimes that you remember of his, why he's might be a good king because of that?
Mataji, he was impartial to the Kauravas. He treated them as his own brothers.
Yes, very true. Yes. Was he then partial to his own brothers?
No, he was not.
Yeah.
And also,
is there any pastime that shows that he was not partial even within his own brothers?
Yes. There's one name, no? Some questions are asked to him, and he
Yaksha
has to
Prashna.
choose. Like, yes. So that time he chooses the youngest brother. I mean,
Nakula.
not his own brothers. Yeah,
Yes,
Nakula.
yes. Very nice.
Because,
good point, Sita Mataji. So does everyone know about this pastime?
As
anyone
mentioned about Kali Yuga Lakshanas, people will come to Bhima and ask four questions.
Yes.
4 questions. That 4 questions answered by
Dharmaraja. But like Sita Mataji was mentioning, there was this specific episode in Mahabharata where Pandavas are very thirsty. Even Draupadi is very thirsty. And they can hear the water sound from a little distance. So one by one, from the youngest brother, Nakula, Sahadeva, Arjuna, Bhima, one by one, they went to collect water so they can help, all the older brothers. But Sahadeva went for a very long time. He did not return. Then Nakula goes, even he does not return. Then Bhima goes, Arjuna goes, and nobody's coming back. So finally Yudhishthira himself goes to check what is going on, right? He goes near the water, and there he sees his 4 brothers are dead. They're sleeping next to the water pond, and they are dead. So he's perplexed now. How could this happen? My very dear brothers, they were now breathing and alive. How can they suddenly die? It's said that this particular lake or water body was belonged to a yaksha. Okay, and this yaksha actually was Yamadeva, Yamaraja himself. He had come disguised as a yaksha, and he was putting these 5 Pandavas through a test. He told each Pandava that, I'll ask you a question. If you're able to answer it correctly, then you can drink water. So Yudhishthira said, okay, you ask me the questions. I'll see how I can answer. So one by one, Yaksha is asking questions, and Yudhishthira answers this question very correctly. Now this Yaksha is very satisfied, and he shows himself as Yamadeva to Yudhishthira. And he says, out of your 4 brothers, I can bring back to life one of your brother. Who will that be? So Yudhishthira, he could have very easily said, because there's a war that's going to happen in the future, he could have easily said, bring back Bhima or Arjuna. They are very, important for me for the war. But he said, no, bring back Nakula. Because Dharmaraja was very surprised. Why do you say it so? Why don't you bring back Bhima or Arjuna? They are very important for you in the future war. So Yudhishthira says, no, since I am the son of Kunti, Kunti has one of her son alive still, so let one of the sons of Madri come back to life. So he chose Nakula and said, let him come back to life instead of Bhima or Arjuna. So even within his brothers, he did not create any kind of bias. He was very balanced in his approach. So this was Yudhishthira Maharaj. And it's not that, Yudhishthira is just a dharmic. He was also a very excellent warrior. He was very good in fighting with mace, not mace, the spear. So nobody could beat him in the war with spear. Okay, so he's also a very good warrior. And then comes next was who? Nakula and Hare
I
Krishna.
remember one more pastime. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead,
When the Pandavas were in exile, Mataji, in the forest,
Mm.
Duryodhan, to tease them, had also come and stayed there in his lavish this thing.
Yes.
And then the king of Naxalites captures Duryodhan and takes him.
Mm.
And when Yudhishthira comes to know about it, he asks Arjuna to go and free him.
Yes. Yes, that's also another. It was actually a Gandharva. The water body belonged to a Gandharva, and Duryodhana and his party, his wives and friends, including Karna and all his brothers, they all came just to show their wealth to the Pandavas. The Pandavas were living in exile, and they're living in very meager condition. So he wanted to show his pomp and show with Pandavas. So he comes up with all his army. He's playing water sports in this water body, but this water body belonged to a Gandharva, and he told them to vacate that place. But that resulted in a war where Duryodhana was defeated by the Gandharva. And some of the soldiers, they knew that Pandavas are staying close by, so they ran to the Pandavas, asked for help. And it said that Arjuna and Bhima, the four brothers, not Yudhishthira, they went, defeated the Gandharvas, and brought back, captured this Gandharva, Chitraketu, I think, and brought him back. And then this way, though Duryodhana had come there actually to taunt them, make them envious, he did not consider all that. He only considered the fact that his people had come there to ask for help, and he helped. Yudhishthira helped Duryodhana even in those conditions. Okay, and Nakula and Sahadeva, they blew their Sugosha and Mani Pushpaka. Now Nakula and Sahadeva, they are born from the twins. They are twins, and they are born from the Ashwini Kumaras, right? So they were the most beautiful people, most handsome, and also they were very good with sword fighting, right? Nakula is said that along with sword, he was also very good in Ashwa Vidya, taking care of the horses, things like that. And Sahadeva was very good with cattle, taking care of the cattle. And also Sahadeva was very good with Shastras, astrology. It said that other than Krishna, only Sahadeva knew what is the result of this battlefield. Even before the war started, he knew exactly which day which warrior will die. So he could read charts, he could predict the future. So, and he was also well read in Shastras. So this way, and then further, there's mention of other great archers, the king of Kashi. Now, who is this king of Kashi? So king of Kashi, this goes back to the time when Bhishma Pitamaha, he kidnapped 3 ladies, princesses, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. Right? He wanted to get these 3 princesses married to Vichitra Virya, right? Who is the son of Shantanu. But it is said that of the 3 ladies, princesses, one princess, Amba, she already had given her heart to another king and did not want to marry Vichitra Virya. So she informed Bhishma Pitama that I can't marry Vichitra Virya, I'll have to go back to my kingdom. But when she went back to the prince that she liked, however, this prince rejected her and said, because you were kidnapped by another king, prince, I cannot now marry you, because you're now, people will tell that you spent time with another man. I cannot marry you. So she was rejected by the person she liked as well. Now Amba comes back to Bhishma and says, you'll have to take care of me. You have to marry me, because nobody else will marry me because of what you did. But Bhishma Pitamaha had taken a pratigna of being a brahmachari for life. So he didn't want to marry. So what does Amba do? She goes to Parashurama. Parashurama is the guru of Bhishma himself, right? And there she tells him that this is what happened. Now you'll have to take revenge. You have to convince Bhishma Pitamaha either to marry or defeat him and take my vengeance. And it said that Parashurama did fight with Bhishma Pitamaha, and he was defeated. Imagine that. Parashuram, he defeated all the warriors 21 times across the world, but Bhishma Pitamaha defeated Parashuram. But this is also a pastime, because even Parashuram knew that Bhishma Pitamaha was right when he said that he cannot marry Amba. So he comes back and tells, I cannot do anything. Bhishma Pitamaha will not marry you. So it said that Amba, from there on, she lived a very austere life, meditating on the Lord, and eventually gave up her life. Now, the father of these three princesses, Amba, Ambika, and Ambhalika, was the king of Kashi. Okay, so king of Kashi, now is fighting with the Pandavas against Bhishma Pitamaha. So he's on the side of Pandavas. Then comes Shikandi. Shikandi is also son of Drupada. Okay, so he's a elder brother of Drishtadyumna and Draupadi. Okay, now very often we refer the word Shikandi for eunuchs or transgender, but that's not the case. The reason why he got the name Shikandi here, it said that Drupada had a prayer to Lord Shiva that earlier on he wants a daughter. Whatever child he has, the child should be a daughter, but as the child grows up, that he needs the child to be a man, because later on when he has to rule the kingdom, then he wants a boy child. So somehow he put a very weird request to Lord Shiva that initially the child should be a girl, but as the child grows, it should turn into a boy. And this child, is said that when the girl child, when she was born, she was born with a tuft of hair, like a shika on her head, right? So because of that, she got the name Shikandini. So she was born as a proper girl child. But later on, due to some sequence of events, she managed to change into a boy later on, after her marriage. In fact, she was married to another princess, and while she was still a girl, but they continued to pretend like she's a boy because she was getting prepared for a future where she had to rule a king. So she was treated like a boy all throughout while growing. All the vidya, all the astra shastra, everything was taught to the Shikandini, to the girl child. But they continued to pretend that that this child is a boy, right? Because the king had only one child, and he wanted to make sure that the other kings don't attack, knowing that this kingdom does not have a future king. So they continue to pretend that this child is a boy, and they got her married as well to another princess. But the secret soon got leaked out that this Shikandini is actually a girl, not a boy, right? And this is when he escaped from the kingdom, and Shikandini goes to a forest where she meets a yaksha, and yaksha, after hearing her story, says, just for one day I will change my gender with you, so you can be a child, a boy for a day, and I'll be a girl for the day. And a kind of truce was made where he was trying to help Shikandini, so that if the king, his wife's father caught him, they would not trace him back and say, okay, we were actually cheated. Just for one day, they made a gender exchange. But it said that when Kubera got to know about this gender exchange, he said, he cursed the Yaksha to say that, you will stay in this girl body till the point that Shikandini dies. So Shikandini in this way becomes a boy, and gets the name Shikandi. But he's a proper boy. He's not a transgender or a eunuch. Okay, so the term Shikandi for eunuchs is actually incorrect. Shikandi actually means a person who has a tuft of hair on the head, right? So he is Shikandi is then the elder brother of Drishtadyumna and Draupadi. Okay, and then there's Virata, Satyaki, Drupada. All of these people, one by one, they are blowing their conch shells. Okay.
But the king had another son, Drishtadyumna, right, Mataji? Then why
Who had the son? Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Drishtadyumna is Shikandi's brother, right?
Yes, elder brother. So, Drishtadyumna is much younger. He comes much later, right? Okay. He comes as a grown person out of the fire, from the fire.
Okay. So I was just wondering, why did the father say that want a girl and then he should become a boy when he already had another child?
No, he did not have that child earlier on. So when
came in later,
yes, he comes later. So you can think of it as the father fantasies. Like fathers usually like girl child. especially when they're small. That's a connection that is. So he had a fantasy, something like that. Like when the child is small, let it be a girl child, and as it grows, I want a proper boy child to manage my kingdom. So that's what it is. Jai Lakshmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
सघोषो धार्तराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यदारयत् नभश्च पृथ्वीं चैव तुमुलोऽभ्यनुनादयन्. Translation: The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And this is another indication of the victory of the Pandavas. It said that when the Pandavas blew their conch shells one after the other, it shattered the hearts of the Kauravas. It filled their heart with fear. Right? Just by hearing the sound of the conch shells and bugles, their heart was filled with fear. So this is also an indication that victory was on the side of the Pandavas. Next, Anjana Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. अत व्यवस्थितां दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रं कपि ध्वजा प्रवृत्ते शास्त्रसम्पते धनुर्विद्याम्य पाण्डव इति क्लेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदं महामहिपते. At that time, Arjuna, O son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of the Dhritarashtra drawn in the military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So at that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag mark of Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the son of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke these words. Now, this chariot, of course, we discuss how it's coming from, it was gifted by Agni Deva. Now, this emblem of Hanuman on the flag of the chariot, this is also very significant. Okay, so it so happened that once Draupadi and Bhima, they were passing in their exile period, they were passing some forest area, and from a very distance, Draupadi could smell some kind of very nice fragrance. It's some kind of lilies or water lilies, something. And she said, I can smell something very nice. Can you please go and find out what these flowers are? If you can get me one flower, I'll be very happy. So our voracious eater, Bhima, and one who does all the Herculean task, under the love of his wife, he said, yes, I will go and find this flower for you. So you can understand that while he had this very masculine definition of, how a husband should be, he's also very loving to his wife. So he says, okay, I'll go find that flower. So he's walking somewhere on the path. He's seeing a monkey lying down on the path. Okay, he sees a very old, aged monkey. Now, does anyone know who this monkey is?
Hanuman.
Hanuman, yes. So Hanuman had actually come down. Remember, even Hanuman is Vayuputra, so is Bhimasena. So actually, their connection is that of they are like brothers, but because their father is Vayudeva. So this Hanuman is seated or sleeping, lying on the path, and Bhima has come to looking for this flower which has a very fragrant smell, and he sees this huge monkey lying, very old. He's not even able to move, sleeping. He's very tired. So Hanuman requested him, can you please move ahead? I need to cross and go. And there was no space to cross. He has to either cross over the old monkey, or so he's requesting the monkey to, can you please move aside? I need to, but the monkey is not ignoring him. And he said, you do whatever you want. I can't move. I am tired. And Hanuman gets very, Bhimasena gets very rattled. He said, do you know who I am? Do you know my strength? I can push you to the side in a minute. But Hanuman says, okay. If you can push me, I'm a very old person. I cannot do anything. Just push my tail to a side and you can go from behind me. So Hanuman tries, Bhima tries to lift the tail of Hanuman. But it said that Bhima could not even move it an inch or even that much. So finally he gives up. He surrenders to the monkey, and this is when the old monkey shows his form as Hanuman and says, we are from the same father, so we are actually brothers. But the position of Hanuman is actually of a guru. He's much, much, much senior uh, uh, to Bhimasena, right? And he nicely instructs him on, and this way, finally, he's very pleased with Bhima. He's asking him, what do you need? Is there something I can give you? And Bhima said, can you come and help me in the war? Can you be part of the war, right? So Hanuman says, yes, I can be part of the war, but I'll be on the same chariot where my master is, Rama. Rama is none other than Krishna himself. So he said, I'll be on the chariot of Arjuna. And it said that Hanuman played a very important role in this whole battle, though he did not physically come and battle in the Kurukshetra war. It said that whoever is trying to attack Arjuna from all sides, they could hear this very ferocious roar coming from the chariot of Arjuna, like a big, thunderous roar of a lion. And just by hearing that sound, anybody who's trying to attack, like a big elephant coming running towards Arjuna, it would have a heart attack and fall off there, right? So there were many, many instances like this where people could hear roars in the battlefield and they were very scared to approach Arjuna. But Arjuna could also hear that roar, but he was not afraid of that roar. Okay, so that was Hanuman fighting with supporting Arjuna in that battlefield. So finally, when it said that because Hanuman, Krishna, everyone is on this chariot, though there were so many astras shot on this chariot, nothing happened to the chariot. And also because chariot belonged to Agni Devata himself, nothing could impact this chariot. No harm was done. In fact, after the war, Krishna actually tells Arjuna, can you take all your things out and leave the chariot? So he first asks Arjuna to leave the chariot. And then slowly he gets off from the chariot. And it said that this whole chariot burst into flames at that point. And this way it goes back to Agni Devata. Okay, so this is how, this is another indication, because of the presence of Hanuman on the chariot. This is another indication of the assured victory of the Pandavas in the war. Okay, let's read the verse 21 and 22. Pavan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Arjuna vacha senyor ubhayor madhye radham sthapiye me chuta Yadav ethan nirikshe ham yodhu kaman avasthitan kair maya saha yodhavam ashmin rana samyudhyame. Translation. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here, those desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratham Sthapaye Mechyuta. So, Achyuta over here, it means is infallible one. Okay, so Arjuna is asking Krishna, oh infallible one, Achyuta, please take the chariot between the two armies. So what does he want to do? He wants to observe the two armies. So he wants to see who is that we are fighting, right? So he's asking Krishna, oh infallible one, Achyuta, please take the chariot between the two armies. Now the word Achyuta is very significant. And you will see that in each verse, different names of Krishna is mentioned. One name is Achyuta, infallible. What's the direct meaning of this word? He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed as infallible. He never fails his devotees, right? So that is one meaning. Another meaning is infallible means his position. Now in this war, Krishna is playing a role of a charioteer. right? And in the previous cases, we can see how Krishna has played different roles. He's played the role of a Gopa boy. He's become a cowherd boy, and in the vicinity of Vrindavan, he's become a small boy playing with his mother, getting beaten by his mother. He's scared looking at the stick of his mother, right? So he's played different roles, even though he's in this war situation, a role of a charioteer, but his position as a supreme lord is not challenged. It does not fall down. So he's infallible. Okay, so there are two meanings. One is he does not fail the affection of his devotees. Anybody, how does he not fail? Here, everyone wants, Supreme Lord, we want to do some devotional service to the Lord. But here, Krishna wants to serve his devotees, right, as a charioteer. So he's never fails his affection for his devotees. Because of out of affection, Arjuna asked him, can you be my charioteer? Can you be my counselor during the war? He says, yes, I'll be your counselor, because of his affection for his devotee. Infallible. Okay. And what other things is there over here? So as a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna has no desire to fight. So why is Arjuna asking to go between the army? As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna initially has no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who has never agreeable to a peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who are the leading people present on the battlefield. Although there was no question of peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again to see how much they were bent on demanding an unwanted war. Right? So he's assessing the situation in some ways. Because initially Pandavas did not want a war. They said, just give us 5 villages and we'll be happy. We'll rule over those 5 villages. We'll be happy. We don't want half the kingdom. But Duryodhana did not agree to that as well. And hence war was a unavoidable situation. So hence here, Arjuna now, he's come and he's requesting Krishna to take the chariot in between the two armies. Next person, please read the verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Sita
Yo
Mataji, sorry, I'll request you to lead later on. Sita Mataji, Sumit Prabhu.
यो तस्यामन् अवेक्षाहं यो ये ते तत्र समागतः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेर् युद्धे प्रिय चिकीर्षवा. Translation: Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it's understood from this verse that evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. So in some ways, Duryodhana was trying to usurp the kingdom of Pandavas by whatever means he can. He wanted to take charge. He wanted to, in every illegal means, take over the kingdom from Pandavas, right? And this was all done under in the knowledge of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra knew very well what Duryodhana was doing, and he knew of his intentions, but he did not block his son or say this is not a good thing. We should. He did not try to pull his son back into the right method, right, or the right path. And to the extent that even in the peace negotiation, he continued to support the attitude of Duryodhana. So hence, is now saying, wishing to, let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Okay, next one, 24. Sunita Mataji, are you there?
I'm there, Mataji. Hare
Go ahead.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sanjay Uvacha Evam Ukta Rishikesho Gurakeshena Bharata Seneyor Ubayor Madhye Stapayitva Ratottamam. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Hare
Here,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Sanjaya Uvacha Evam Yukto Rishikesho Gudakeshena Bharata. Okay, so O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew his chariot in the midst of the two. So here Arjuna is referred as Gudakesha. Okay, Gudakesha means one who has conquered ignorance and sleep. Okay, so that's the meaning of the word Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep, and one who has conquered sleep is called Gudakesha. Sleep is also compared to ignorance, right? But since Arjuna is in association of Krishna, is surrendered to Krishna, he has overcome his ignorance, and hence is referred to as Gudakesha. Okay, and he's surrendering to who? He's surrendering to Rishikesha, the one who has control of all the senses, one who controls everyone's senses. So he's requesting Krishna to please take me between the two armies. Okay, and
Hare Krishna
Krishna,
Mataji.
yes,
Arjuna is Gudakesha, right?
Arjuna is Gudakesha.
Oh, okay.
Right, and when Arjuna is making this request, Rishikesha, the one who is the director of senses, it said that Rishikesha, the director of senses and mind of every living being, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus he did so and spoke as follows. So Arjuna is now trying to assess who am I fighting? Who are the people who have assembled here? And Arjuna, Krishna understood his intent, and he's now speaking. Krishna is speaking first. Okay. Please read the next verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Bhishma Drona Pramukta Sarvesham Cha Mahiskitim Yuvacha Partha Pashyentan Samavedan Kurur Iti. Translation: in the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, "Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here."
Yes.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
so Krishna is saying, just behold Partha. Partha is son of Pratha, which is Pratha is Kunti. So he says, behold all the Kurus assembled here. See all the Kurus assembled here. So it said that Krishna in this situation put the Ratha exactly in front of Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitamaha. Right? And he is, and in some sense, it can be said that maybe Krishna was trying to instigate this kind of, thought duality. Should I fight or not fight? These are my relatives and friends. So, which is why he gets the Ratha where Dronacharya, Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitamaha he's exactly in front over there. And he's Krishna very jokingly saying, now behold the Kurus, everyone who's come to fight against you. Okay. So next person, 26.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Tatra pasyat stithan partha pitran atha pitamaha acharyan matulan bhratran putran pautran sakhim statha swasuran surdhaschaiva senayor abhayor api. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father's-in-law and well-wishers.
So, thank you. Hare Krishna. So he's seeing all his relatives, all the people, all the fathers, grandfathers. Who are the fathers? People like Bhurishrava, right? And grandfathers like Bhishma. So, and even Somadatta is grandfather status. Teachers like Dronacharya and Kripacharya. material uncles like Shalya, Shakuni, brothers like Duryodhana, and Duryodhana's son is Lakshmana, and friends like Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama, they have studied together in the Gurukula under Dronacharya, and they have been friends while growing. So well wishers like Kritavarma. So all these people, he can see all these people in the field, and now he's thinking, what is he thinking next? Let's read about that. 2027.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
1.27. तान् समीकस्य स कौन्तेय सर्वान् बन्धून् अवस्थितन् कृपया पर्याविष्टो विसीदन् idam अब्रवीत्. Translation. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Overwhelmed with compassion. So when he's seeing all his relatives, he's suddenly overcome with compassion. And what does he speak? Verse 28. Anita Mataji, if you're not there, I'll give it to somebody else. Is there anyone who has not read so far and wants to read verse 28?
Yes, Mataji.
Soni Mataji, go ahead.
दृष्टवेयं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुवं समुपस्थितं सीदन्तीमं गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति. Arjun said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me is such a fighting spirit. I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up."
Jai. Usha Mataji, next verse. Usha Mataji.
रोमहर्षश्च जयते गाण्डीवं श्रमस्सते अस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिध्ययते. Translation. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandhiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So this is what Arjuna is going through when he's seeing his family on both sides, and now he sees that he has to fight his own people that he has grown up with, people who have taken care of him while growing up, of all his fathers, grandfathers, brothers, teachers. So what happens to him? His heart is filled with compassion, and as a result, what is happening? He's telling that seeing my friends, relatives present before me in such fighting spirit, right, for the kingdom, they want to fight us and kill us in this battle, and they are ready to fight us in this fighting spirit. I feel my limbs are of my body, limbs is hands, legs are quivering, and my mouth is drying up, right? And further he says in the next verse that his whole body is trembling, his hair is standing on its end, right? So these are all symptoms that you see mentioned by Arjuna on what he's feeling right now. Okay, so he says, my Gandiva is slipping and my skin is burning. Verse 30, Ramesh Prabhuji, Ramesh Bhatt.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मन निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव. Dude, I am unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Kesi demon.
Kesi demon. Hare Krishna. So after relating all his symptoms, he's saying, after seeing all my family here, I am unable to stand any longer. I'm forgetting myself, my mind is reeling, and I see only causes of misfortune. And he's referring to Krishna as Keshava. Keshava means the killer of the Keshi demon, Right? So he's, in other words, saying, Krishna, you're the killer of so many demons, Madhusudana, Keshava. So why then should I fight? You're only killing the bad people. Then why should I fight my family? Is it that important? Are they as bad as demons? Should I even kill them? So he's asking this question indirectly to Krishna, Keshava. Right? And remember, these symptoms of Arjuna that you're seeing, it's happening because he's a devotee of the Lord, a soft-hearted devotee of the Lord. And devotees do not really want to harm people for their own benefit. Right? And when he's seeing that he has to harm these people, he has to kill these people that he grew up with, his heart is filled with compassion. And this compassion is very natural. It's not that he's afraid. His lips are dry, his limbs are shaking. These are symptoms of a person who's afraid as well. But very clearly the purports are saying that this is not because Arjuna is afraid looking at the army, but it's happening because out of compassion, he's now questioning, why am I here? What am I doing? Right? And this kind of compassion can happen to any devotee. Right? Or even in the past, in many situations, we can see how devotees, when they are faced with situations like this, they very often start thinking, should I even do this, or is it very important to do this? Right? Similar like Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada was told to take sannyasa, um, his Guru Maharaj had already passed by then, but his Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, would come in his dream and tell, it's time for you to take sannyasa. But Srila Prabhupada kept pushing it off. He said, I'm married, have children. By now, he was almost like a Vanaprastha. He had started publishing many books. He did not have active family life. But because he still had many responsibilities, he kept going in his Grahastha Jeevan. But eventually, when he understood that his Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji was coming again and again in his dreams, he finally gave up all his material life. But till then, he was very agitated. He did not want to give up his job. He tried to keep running his pharmacy, to the point that his pharmacy was running constantly on loss. Right? He tried to re-establish his pharmacy in many places, but each time he tried to hit, it was going on loss. So ultimately, it was the will of Krishna that he had to take sannyasa. So he got the message from that and took up sannyasa eventually. So things like this keep happening. And here Arjuna is going through a similar situation. He's thinking, what am I even doing here? Is it important for me to kill my family to enjoy this whole kingdom? Do I need to enjoy this kingdom? Right? So he's asking, or he's introspecting, right? And he's asking all these questions aloud to Krishna. So this is where we'll stop reading for today. Okay, verse 30. Are there any questions on anything that we discussed today? If all of you could please kindly come on video. Okay, please be on video.
Quiz questions.
Sorry, what was that, Mataji?
Quiz questions.
Quiz questions. We'll share the quiz question after the chapter. Right? So listen carefully. I request you, or all the verses that we discuss in the class, go back after the class, read through the purport, because the quiz questions will also come from the purport. Okay, so read through the purport. Shouldn't be that you're listening to the class and you figure out everything is everything now, but a lot of details are shared by in the purports as well. We may not be able to go through everything, so your complete study of Bhagavad Gita is done only when you have done reading the purports. Okay, so the time that you have in between, don't just forget Bhagavad Gita for the next 5 days when we're not discussing Bhagavad Gita. Go back to the verses that we have discussed in the class, read the purport. Okay, so keep Bhagavad Gita in your mind. At least spend 15 minutes every day going through what we've already discussed so far. Okay, so yeah, quiz questions. Once we finish chapter 1, we'll get to the quiz questions. Okay, any questions on what we discussed today though? All clear?
Hare
Nice.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
You said that Shikandi was the brother of Dhristadyumna. That means he was the brother of Draupadi and
Yes.
son of Dronacharya Mataji.
No, Drupada, son of Drupada.
Drupada.
Yes.
Okay.
Drupada had 3 children. The first one was Shikandi, and later from the fire sacrifice that he prayed to have a son, he got Drishtadyumna and Draupadi.
But Mataji, I may be wrong. I read somewhere that Dhristadyumna was the son of Dronacharya, na?
No. Ashwatthama is the son of Dronacharya.
Ashwatthama. Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
And
sorry.
Drupada was born to kill Dronacharya. You can maybe listen to the recording of the last class, class number 5. We went in much detail in that context of the relation between Drupada and Dronacharya as well.
Okay. Thank you. So something new I heard today. Shikandi being the brother of Dhristadyumna. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
That's the first time I heard this. Thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji, was Shikandi the rebirth of Amba?
Yes, Shikandi was the rebirth of Amba. And that's why
take a village against
yes.
Bhishma.
So he was born as Shikandi with to kill Bhishma Pitamaha. And since Bhishma Pitamaha knew the relation of Amba, that his Shikandi being a girl child initially, so his birth was as a girl child, he decided not to fight Shikandi. It's not because of the transgender thing, because he would not fight a female. He'll not kill a female. So he gave up his weapons as soon as Shikandini came in front of him, or Shikandi in the war.
Mataji, lifespan of Kashi Maharaja is more, it seems.
We don't really know if it's Kashi Maharaja, the father of Amba, or whoever is the current Kashi Raja. It could be the current Kashi Raja as well.
Oh, current Kashi Raja.
Yeah. Right? And there's a very interesting backstory of Draupadi as well. Does anyone know who was Draupadi in her previous birth?
Mataji, she was squirrel.
She was?
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Where did you get that from?
I have listened from my mother.
Okay, in Ramayana, I'm not familiar with that pastime, Mataji. Maybe you can share it on chat. But in Ramayana context, do you know who was Draupadi in her past life?
No, Mataji.
Okay, so it happens that when Ravana comes to kidnap Sita, right? So he comes as begging for alms like a brahmana, and Sita Mata says, okay, I'll have something in my kutira, I'll get it for you, right? And when she goes inside, Agni Deva appears in front of her and says, this person brahmana is actually a rakshasa, a demon called Ravana. He's here to kidnap you, so don't go out. But Sita Devi says, but I already promised to give him some alms, so I have to go. So this is when Agni Deva says, creates another Sita called Maya Sita. Okay, and Maya Sita goes out and gives the alms to Ravana and gets kidnapped, while the original Sita enters the fire. Okay, that whole thing of Lakshman Rekha and all that, that's not a thing in Valmiki Ramayana. So it's not a factual story as shown in the TV serials. That didn't happen. So the original Sita enters Agni, and Maya Sita gets kidnapped. So after many, many years, after Sita is saved from Ayodhya, there was a Agni Pariksha that happened. So this is where again the switch happens again, right? Maya Sita enters the fire again, and the original Sita comes out. You see that? So after all this episode, Sita comes out from the fire, the original Sita, and she is living with Lord Ram. But what happens to Maya Sita? She said, I'm as good as your wife. I've lived as your wife for so many years. So how can you give up on me now? So, but Rama is Ekapati Vrata. He said, no, I can't have a second wife. So Maya Sita, she tells, Rama tells Maya Sita, you need to meditate on Lord Shiva, and asked for a husband. So she Maya Sita meditates on Lord Shiva, like is the Vedic process. Anyone who wants a good wife or a husband, they pray to Parvati and Shiva for a good spouse. So she also meditated on Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, when he came, because she was thinking of Lord Rama, and she described the kind of husband that she wants to Lord Shiva. She said, I want a very dharmic person. I want a person who is good with arrows. Like she's thinking of Lord Rama. With Gandiva and arrows, should be very strong, should be very handsome, should know the Vedas and Astras. So she's thinking about all these characteristics of Lord Rama and saying, I want a husband. She says, Pati Dehi, Pati Dehi, Pati Dehi, Pati Dehi, Pati Dehi. She's desperately begging for Pati 5 times. And listening to her prayers, Lord Shiva says it's impossible to give you one husband with all these 5 characters. So you get 5 husbands in your next life. Right, so that was from that Maya Sita, her next birth is Draupadi, right? And she got exactly those 5 characteristics. Dharma is Yudhishthira, archery is Arjuna, strength is Bhima, good looks is both Nakula and Sahadeva, and all the Shastras and Vedas is Sahadeva. So she got these 5 husbands because of her pastime with as Maya Devi. So that Maya Devi is, in other words, she's an incarnation of Mother Lakshmi herself.
You should not ask much, Mataji.
Sorry,
just ask adequate.
Sorry, Mataji, repeat that.
You should not be, praying to God with lot of things that you want. Just ask Him.
Whatever the Lord wants will happen eventually, right? You can pray, but a mood for praying should also be such that you pray for not material comforts, but more devotional service. Ultimately, if you pray for something for material comforts, it will have its own repercussions. So yes, but that's the pastime of Draupadi as well. Jai, if there's no other questions, we'll end our session for today. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo evacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to all devotees assembled here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I am Anjali here.
Yes,
From
Anjali.
next time while reading shloka, keep me last hour. It will be almost 7:15.
Oh, you get late.
To reach home.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
ma'am.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jay, I'm ending the call for everyone. Thank you for joining.